How y'all feeling today? Oh, okay. If you're feeling good, let me hear you say, yeah, yeah. Okay, so the vibes are right. So hello and welcome, everybody. Thank you guys so much for being here. We're really excited for you guys to join us for this incredible panel. I know I'm excited to get into it. And for those of you who are not familiar with the program, let me give you a bit of a context. So this is a media training program that was designed to empower marginalized voices by providing hands-on experience and training in key media skills. So over 5 months, participants have had the opportunity to learn from industry experts, the beautiful people up here, along from multiple fields, including digital marketing, journalism, videography, podcasting, and networking. So our goal is to equip participants not only with the skills needed to enter the media industry, but to also help them build the confidence and to build their self-esteem to tell their own stories in their own voices and control their narratives, and to also address issues that matter to them in their communities. You hear my words? Because that's very important. So throughout the program, each facilitators bring their unique expertise and perspectives, so guiding participants through real-world projects like creating campaigns, writing stories, producing videos, and even launching their own podcasts. And at the end, we will be celebrating their achievements at a graduation event for all the participants, where they'll be actually pitching their final projects to Street Voices. Yes. So tonight's panel is an exciting opportunity to get to know the incredible facilitators who make this program possible. So shout out to y'all, but give them a round of applause. And so they'll be sharing their stories and journeys and experiences, as well as their insights. And I'm really excited to dive into it. I'll also be chiming in because I did the networking workshop as well. But without further ado, let's dive into the first question. And Duke, I'm gonna start with you.
Oh God.
Okay, no pressure. So, and this is a question for everyone to answer. Can you just tell the folks in here a little bit about yourself and your journey? And at what point in your career, tell us about your career and why did you decide to actually facilitate the workshop for Street Voices?
Wow. It's gonna be a long answer. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so I'll start with this. I was always someone who enjoyed podcasting, like just listening to them at first, right? I was someone who just loved long form content. You know, I'm talking about Joe Rogan, Joe Budden, Brilliant Idiots, and everybody else like that. And so from then, I started delving more into music. And, you know, my friends and I would get into debates about, you know, I think this album is amazing because of this and the intricacies of this, and, you know, they did this. So we're really passionate about music, and then I also like long-form content, so I put the two together. I said, you know what, I have opinions, I have takes, and I want people to hear them, you know? And so, I just kind of started doing a podcast, researching, okay, what do I need? Like, what does that even look like in terms of a setup? And then I did that. So I purchased it. I had this stuff in my cart for, like, weeks. Because I'm like, this is too much money, you know, and I don't know what I'm going to be doing. But eventually I pulled the trigger. Shout out to London. He was a person who literally peer pressured me into it, honestly. You know, he would keep, good peer pressure. He would keep checking in and saying, did you buy it yet? Did you buy it yet? And so when I did, and we shot the first episode, it was really enjoyable. I was extremely nervous. Terrible episode. Don't go listen. But I was happy that I was able to get it out. Right? And then from then, it just kind of became more of a habit. And then you get more comfortable, and then you started getting more friends on. And then, of course, fast forward here, I'm on 2 podcasts, and, you know, yeah. So, yeah.
Thank you. And how was it facilitating a workshop with Street Voices?
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing. Just, you know, meeting Joel and him telling me about this opportunity. I'm like, wow, this little idea that I created how many years ago has got me here. You know, it's just like, whoa, like you're really just going to be talking about your own journey and then hopefully inspiring people who are also interested in this as well. And so getting to do this workshop was amazing. And then also seeing the joy on people's faces too. You know, when we had the little workshop where they had to do a minute podcast. It was a crunch time, but I can also see it was very exciting for a lot of people to participate. So that was definitely an amazing moment for me.
Thank you. And how possible it is to make something like that happen.
Yeah, exactly.
So thank you. Imani, over to you.
Okay, so I studied journalism in school at university, and I've always been interested in media, but getting into journalism was because I realized I really liked telling real life stories, real people's stories. I was like split between like, do I go into film? Do I go into journalism? And ultimately I was like, I actually enjoy hearing real people's stories and watching documentaries and all that. So I studied journalism, and then I did an internship at CBC News. Being also the only Black woman in the room often was a completely different experience for me. I grew up in Brampton, so all my friends looked like this room. My school looked like this room, and then I get into the corporate world, and I'm like, it was literally a culture shock. Like, from the way I had to speak to I had to dress, appear, it was crazy. But I stuck it out for 5 years there. And after leaving CBC, actually, I wanted to leave a lot earlier than those 5 years, but I decided I got to get as much experience as I can here because it's Canada's national broadcaster. And whatever they do here, they're going to do everywhere. So I stuck it out. And after working there for about 5 years, I left and I went to become the show producer with the Brandon Gonas show. I was able to do that job because I worked at CBC News, right? And so everything kind of works out for a reason. And then after being the show producer for a year with the Brandon Gonas show, I got to do a lot of on-camera reporting. I got to do like the Canadian premiere of Black Panther 2, Legacy Awards, so many great stories. But after a year of working there, I was like, if I'm going to put this much energy into something, it has to be on my own terms, my own thing. And then I left, and I've been freelancing since then. And I started my own media agency this year. So in doing that, I have, it's still getting off the ground, but the long-term goal is to be able to do the interviews and the reporting on the carpet as I've been doing just for my own page. But that's a bit about how I got into this. And I decided to do the Street Voices workshop because when Joel and I had met at, I think it was a Rise event, I was just telling him about my experience, and he was like, I think you'd be great to host workshops. And it aligned actually with what I'm doing through my company, which is workshops with youth. And so this whole summer I've been doing media workshops with CBC News. So I've gone back to my old workplace. I've done it for the Peel District School Board. And so what I'm doing is leading them through how you do storytelling, how you do reporting, what are some good storytelling skills, how do you know that you're interested in media. And I'm a yapper, so I do this professionally, so you might have to cut me off, but that's how I'm here.
Thank you. And MWorks, tell us a little bit about your journey.
So hey everyone, my name is Matthew. I started a video production company called MWorks 11 years ago. It started off doing music videos, animations, and commercials. As of the more recent years, I've been transcending into short films. I also put together workshops, and I hold film festivals as well too. That's something I do every May. So definitely in the last 3 or 4 years, just getting into the short film world, it's been amazing, just learning the new experiences. And short films, it's a whole different ball game from music videos, in which I was doing in my earlier part of my career. I still do that now, but as of recently, the film world and also teaching and holding festivals is where my mindset has been at lately. So it's been great. I met Joel in the earlier part of my career, and it's been amazing to watch his growth and to watch him do everything that he's set out to do, and his ideas have just been manifested in front of all of our eyes. So I'm very proud to be here and to speak and to also hold workshops for him.
Yeah.
Hi everyone. My name is Selena. I'm a videographer, social media manager, documentary filmmaker, and photographer. I went to University of Windsor and I did a double degree in journalism, communication, media, and film. Thank you. So I have a background in journalism, but I really love documentary, as Imani was saying too. It was really a calling of getting to hear people's stories and asking them different questions about their lives and the way that you have that bond when they share it with you and trust you to film it and then share with other people. I just love that community building in it. So that's the way I kind of went, is documentary filmmaking, but I also have a background in social media management. Fun fact, as Joel mentioned before, Street Voices was the first social media platform I managed. I had no idea what I was doing, and this was in maybe 2018 or so, or maybe earlier than that. But yeah, so I've been with Street Voices for almost since the beginning, 9 years now, which is fun. Thanks. Thank you. But yeah, it's been really good. My role in Street Voices has also changed as I've picked up new skills. So I started out as a writer for the magazine, and then I switched over to photography and videography when we had our events and our open mics and things like that. And then social media manager, then managing the media team. So yeah, my growth with Street Voices and my growth professionally has been very tied and very connected, and very grateful for that. So yeah.
And how about your company?
Oh yes, thanks. Thank you. So thanks, Katie, too. You know, I forget things sometimes. So earlier this year, I started my documentary organization called Leverage Lens, and we also put on workshops as well as a film festival too. This next year will be my second time putting it on. But yeah, and we also showcase documentaries, art, either visual art or photography. And yeah, it's been really good. So I'm trying to grow Leverage Lens as well now. So
Amazing.
yeah.
Thank you. So hey guys, my name is Kiriatu. I'm just a girl from Jane and Finch. But seriously, how I got into like facilitating the networking workshop is because every single opportunity that I've ever received has been through my networks, either through mentorship, friends, former classmates. So I've been really blessed to be able to like meet really cool people. And I think I got that skill from my dad. I don't even think he knows that, but he's just a yapper as well. Like something simple as like going to the grocery store and making conversation with the person behind him in the line or in the front, like just making casual conversation. So I kind of picked that up from him. I'm also genuinely a curious person. Like I love to meet new people and learn about what they do. I don't know, it does something, you know? I'm very, very curious. So I actually got a chance to go to Carleton University for the School of Journalism and finish my degree over there in Ottawa. That was also a culture shock for me. And the reason why I went to Ottawa was not necessarily because I wanted to do journalism at that time, was honestly because I wanted to just branch out and move away from my community for a little bit and meet new people again. So that really helped me to get the skills to not be shy, to go up to people, because I don't consider myself to be a shy person, but sometimes I can get a little bit nervous. However, the way I met Joelle was, again, through a network. Shout out to Jeff. He's not here. He's doing big things with CBC right now. And so Jeff actually told me about this program called Street Voices. And I was like, okay, what's that? And he followed up again because the first time I didn't really take it seriously. And I finally got a chance to speak to Joelle. And from there, the rest was history. I was able to then build my platform within the world of media by like hosting, moderating. And that really helped me to continue my brand. But yeah, full time I do, I'm at YACE as a community resource engagement worker. Thank you. So again, through networks, I was able to get that job, and then I work part-time with the Raptors as well, again, through another network. So yeah, all right. Meet new people, y'all. Take this time very seriously because it's very, very important. You never know how it's gonna open up an opportunity for you or even the people that you're close to, right? Because you can put them on as well. All right, so Selena, I'm gonna start the question off with you. What was it like facilitating these workshops and teaching and inspiring these young and brilliant minds?
For me, it definitely felt like a full circle moment because the fact that like I started off my social media career with Street Voices, and then years later now I'm like teaching a workshop and have all this other experience. So like last year I had an internship at Warner Music Canada for 4 months, which was really awesome. The marketing, thank you. So in the marketing department, so that was really fun. For a year before that, I was at a film production company based in Toronto doing their marketing and doing their social media and stuff. So it was really cool to just all of that experience that I've had, put that into like a 2-hour presentation and just share what has worked for me, what I love to do, content creation, where it's going now. And yeah, so it was a good experience. The class was really engaged. Thank you for those who are here then and here now again. So yeah, so thanks. Thank you.
What about you?
Yeah, my experience doing the workshop, it was great. My aim, I would say, was to compress the 11 years of knowledge into a 2-hour course. So what I wanted to do was all the mistakes, or what my aim was to do, all the mistakes that I've made, really just put all those years into what I was able to teach in a 2-hour time span, and as well as all the things that I would recommend, and especially to those that are interested in filmmaking. Whether you're experienced or whether you're brand new to it, I just wanted to give a little bit of an insight as to which direction you could steer. So that was my aim going into it, but it was amazing. I had an amazing time. The participants were great, very, very engaged. And I feel that I did a great job in terms of teaching what I was able to teach with the resources I had. And yeah, they were very, very engaging, and that made me happy at the end of the class.
Literally, you know it went well when the time like flew by. You're like, whoa, it's 8 o'clock already?
Yeah.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah, similar to you. I feel like there's so much that you know, and then it's like, how do I fit this into 2 hours? But I think for me, really helping people to think about how you approach a story and remove yourself from it was like a big thing, because when you do have that mic in your hand, unless you're a podcaster who might want to share all their opinions, for the most part, if you go into reporting or journalism, like you have to remove yourself from the story. And so a lot of the time I had one-on-one moments with a lot of people, and just having to shift their mind like to think about the story differently was a big thing. But I got some great feedback. You know, somebody today showed me a reporting video that they've done since on a red carpet. And and they said they learned everything from the workshop. So just hearing that feedback was great. So I had a great time. Yeah, I hope, and I think people took away something from it. Yeah.
For me, it's funny. I approached it a bit differently, you know, because I didn't go to school for this. I went to school for business marketing, and I have a separate life, right? Corporate 9 to 5, and then the separate thing is kind of what I've created here, right? So everything I've learned is through mistakes and actually doing it, right? So when this project was like brought up to me, I was like, really fun, and then I sat and I'm like, can I do this, right? Because I'm gonna talk for 2 hours. About what? Like, I just did it. I don't know, right? But it's funny because once I started doing it and I started fine tuning things, I'm like, I'm gonna be good. Like I've got like this many slides. I should be good. When it actually happened, the engagement was overwhelming, and then we didn't even get to finish the slides. Like it was like, oh wow, like, this is amazing. So honestly, I needed this. You know, it was really great. It's like a great motivator as well, because sometimes, you know, when you're podcasting, there's so many options for people to do, right? Or visit in terms of podcasts. So sometimes as a creator, you can find yourself in a pit where you're just like, should I keep doing this? Like, why? Who's really listening? Like, there's 100 people, ooh, right? But I think once you have things like this and people connecting with it, it pushes you. You know, it keeps you going. So no, it was definitely needed, and I really appreciated it.
That's amazing. So you guys are gonna come back for round 2?
Yes, for sure. I'm gonna do round
definitely.
2.
Right. Okay, so a lot of the times when we're in our different professions, oftentimes we have to overcome challenges because, you know, things happen, and sometimes we can't really, we don't know what's gonna happen, but we have to deal with it at the end of the day, and we gotta keep pushing. So how do you guys overcome your barriers? So what are some of the barriers that you guys have had to overcome? Who do I want to start with? Matthew.
I guess in terms of barriers, it would depend on what we're talking about. It could be barriers when you're actually at the shoot, filming, or it could be barriers when you're in the editing process, or there could be barriers when you're on the delivery process and you're looking to market and push your video. But to give a general answer, I feel like you could always ask people that are in your circle. If you have peers that do the same line of work, you could ask them for advice. If it's more just you working on your own and you don't have the circle yet of people to ask, I would definitely say use the internet. The internet has helped me many times, countless times, in terms of just getting an answer, either a simple Google search or just really just diving into whatever specific question you're looking for. And of course, just sometimes you just need to take time away and step away from your project for a little bit, refresh your head a little bit, and then so I find that for me, in my personal experiences, I find when I come back to the drawing board, I'll have a refreshed mind and I'll be able to come up with an answer and on a more clearer basis.
Nice. Definitely can piggyback off of that. I feel like for myself, overthinking, like I think about things that aren't even real or didn't happen yet. It's like, oh, this is gonna go bad, or they're gonna look at me like this, or they're gonna think this way, right? When in actuality, it's just me overthinking things in my head. And how I overcome that is actually by surrounding myself with just great people who continue to motivate me and elevate me. So definitely keep in mind who you allow in your circle, because it's very important. They can either lift you up or drag you down, right? So be mindful of that. Selena, what about yourself?
I'd say for myself, barriers for sure. Being on social media is definitely a 24/7 type of job, especially with, like, for example, what's going on right now, elections in America. Sometimes you want to sign off and not be involved, not be online, not want to see anything that you don't necessarily agree with, right? So, but you can't. Like, as a social media manager, you're not, honestly, like, you're allowed to, but it's not recommended to do that. So that, I'd say, is a barrier in terms of mental health, just like checking in with yourself and just understanding, like, you can take a break, you can take a moment to relax, or ask somebody, like, hey, I need to sign off for a bit, but if there is something you see, like, just text me about it so I can, like, jump back online, jump back on Instagram and keep up with the trends, engage with people online, things like that. But yeah, other than that, I'd say mental health sometimes can be a barrier, and, like, knowing when to put your phone down and walk away for a bit. So
For sure. Yeah. Duke, what about yourself?
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off that. I think mental health is big, you know, especially because I created a platform that's very fun, funny, but sometimes I don't feel that way, you know. And I think through doing this, I kind of had to learn that it's okay to not be okay, and it's interesting, you know, because, like, you can even kind of share that with your audience, right? Because there's a level of closeness with them. Like, they've been rocking with you for, I'm at 141 episodes now. Right? So it's like they've been rocking with you for that long. It's kind of like, yeah, I kind of owe it to them to let them know I'm not doing so well right now, instead of just going ghost for a bit and then popping back up like, hey guys, right? So I think that's one of them. And then the other thing is also just in terms of, like, structure with your podcast, right? Like, you go into it a lot of times with friends and say, hey, we're going to do this together. And then that friend says, I don't really like it anymore. And so now you go from being a duo to one person. Right. And then having to pivot and figure out, can I still do this? Am I still going to do this? While also still dealing with the audience saying, hey, where's that guy? We liked it better when he was here. Where's he at? So dealing with that, right, and coming out of it stronger, I think that's another barrier. But, and even to Emwork's point too, just the digital stuff, where you lose episodes or something's corrupt or the project crashes when it's supposed to be uploaded for tomorrow. So yeah, tons and tons of barriers. But now we're still in it because we love it. So yeah.
Keep moving.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you. Imani, how about you?
Yeah, like, I don't want to be overly pessimistic, but, like, there are a lot of, like, I personally, my journey have faced a lot of barriers and obstacles and challenges. I'm trying to think of the earlier ones that might be more, you might relate to, and that might be something like, you know, just having somebody give you a shot to be on camera, right? Like, proving that you're worth that when you may not have that portfolio. And so, like, how do you show that? I mean, for me, it was actually, that's not necessarily the case that I faced, but I've seen that happen to a lot of people where it's like they want to do this thing, they don't necessarily have the experience to back it up. And so really finding those spaces where you can, maybe you're attending a friend's event, right? And you're making a video for them and it's not something you're getting paid for, but you're getting to build your portfolio in your own way. It may not be with a specific organization or a platform or an outlet, but it might be just a great way to show your on-camera style. So getting, like, a chance, like, itself is hard sometimes. You know, I would say sometimes the pay, when, like, right now I'm freelancing as well as having my own company. And so when I'm working with other outlets, like, they might give me a price and I'm like, okay, well, Yahoo News is paying me this. This other outlet is paying me this. I know Yahoo News has a bigger, like, budget, but this, and then, you know, maybe this smaller Black-owned company, I'm not going to charge you what Yahoo News is charging. And so how you find your price and stick to it, and also how you kind of say something when you know someone's lowballing you, because it's happened to me. I've been copied on emails where someone has said, hey, could you go cover this story for, I don't know, $200? And then and I say, okay, sure, why not? Because I know it'll be good to add to my portfolio. I get copied on the email thread and I see they're getting paid $6K and I'm the one doing the story.
Wait a minute.
That's, you know, that's happened to me. And I have to say, yeah, no. And then it's oh my gosh, no. We can pay you this and we can throw in this and that, you know? And so it's like, you also never know when someone's lowballing you. And so how do you set your price for yourself and say, like, this is what I'm starting at. I'm not gonna go lower than this. Whether if you can pay me, great. If you can't, maybe next time. Also, just like with the work I've done with my own media agency, you know, having contracts, making sure even when I'm doing my own reporting as a freelancer, having contracts as well. Sometimes I do PR stuff as well because I don't work at CBC, right? If I work I can do whatever I want, basically. So when you work at like with a big outlet like CBC or CTV, Toronto Star, like you work under the journalistic standards of practices, which is like you can't do partnerships, you can't do all those things when you're a freelancer. It's almost like you're a bit of a content creator too in a way, you know. And so it's like I can take those, and so I can take that on. So looking over all my contracts, making sure that, you know, I'm on the same page with the people I'm working with, that if they're sending me to do a story, we're on the same page and I'm not coming back with something different. Although most of the time they give me the freedom to do, you know, what I think is best. So there's a few, and a lot of it is like working it out as you go, right? Like if you're going out for your first story or two, you're not going to have the price that you're going to have after 5 years of doing this, right? And so it's kind of a learning game as well. It's great to have a network of people so you can say like, hey, what do you think about this? You know, they're going to charge this for the story. Do you think that's worth it? Sometimes it's not worth it. Like I got asked to go out to Brampton the other day. I live downtown Toronto. I got asked to go out back to Brampton, which like I'm from Brampton, so no shade to Brampton. It was just a far travel. And then like for what they were paying me, I was like, this is not adding up.
Right.
Like, you know, the math is not mathing. Right. And so sometimes you have to learn how to say no as well. But in the early days, I said yes to everything. Yeah. And when you get to that point where you start getting frustrated, we're like, why am I saying yes to everything? That's when you know you need to start implementing like different standards for yourself. And that's when you can say no and turn certain things down. And whether you do journalism or film, or what I'm saying can go across the board for really any industry in media. So yeah.
Absolutely. I feel like everything that everybody said, like the skills are definitely transferable for different career paths. Okay, so I know technology, I can't even say it's the future because it's the now, okay? It's taking over, it has taken over. How are you guys adapting to AI or the world of like technology now? Some people are saying it's taking away jobs from media folks, right? Like writing papers, creating scripts, even editing video. So how are you guys navigating that world?
AI could never write. AI could never. No, I'm sorry, because I used to work at the Brandon Gona show, and I used to write all the they don't do them anymore because I'm not there anymore. But they used to do those. I don't know if you remember. They did a lot of text posts where they have headlines, and my headlines were witty. No AI could think like that, because I know the culture of Toronto, right? I know the nuance of what it means to be Black, right? And so it's like there's certain things that AI can never replicate. What I do use AI for is like when I'm like, for example, I just started making, so my media company is called Future People Media. I just started making those same posts on my page now with the headlines and photos and things like that. And so what I'm doing now, because I don't have a team, whereas before I could be like, maybe another journalist in the newsroom, hey, do you want to look this over before I post it, just in case? You know, what I do now is like, I'll just copy everything I wrote into AI and say, check this for grammar and spelling errors. And it'll check, it doesn't change what I'm writing, like it's still my words, but it'll be like, maybe you missed an A, because I use Canva. Canva is not your friend sometimes when it comes to spell check. Like I've had Canva not show me when I have a spelling error, and I'm like, how could you, like, you know? And so I'm just like, you know, I don't trust you, Canva. You're great for design, but not for grammar. Let me throw all this text into ChatGPT, and it'll be like, you've missed an R here. And I'm like, thank God, you know?
Catch the little things.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I use it for. It's like my little assistant.
I love that you said that though, because like, yes, you can use it, but it shouldn't take over the work that you're doing.
Exactly.
Right?
It's not supposed to be writing for you.
Right.
But just check your work sometimes.
Use it as a assistant, like what you said. Exactly. Okay. What about for the rest of y'all though, Duke?
For me, I don't use it as much. Like I find that when a clip is edited through AI, I can tell. I'm like, you don't know what's going on in this clip, man. Get out of here, you know. So it's like I'd rather do the edit myself. Yeah. But it definitely comes clutch for like subtitles or whatever, stuff like that, captions for sure, and then even stuff with like logos. Or, you know, that especially with Canva now, like they have that capability, so that's a little cool perk that it does. But for the most part, I don't necessarily use it. Like I'll use it for like if I'm gonna write something long form maybe, but a lot of the writing is me. So yeah. I'm with Imani.
What about you, Matthew?
So for me, I understand that a lot of people feel like AI can take away a lot of positions, but what we have to understand is that AI has been around a lot longer than just the last few years. It's just only now that it's becoming more mainstream and given a title. And the same with technology. You know, as technology has evolved throughout the decades, yes, it has taken away a lot of positions, but it has also created new positions as well too. You know, even before, like if you were to build a house 100 years ago, before they had all the big machines, it would have taken 100 people to move the big piece of equipment. You know, just giving a rough example, and now they have the tools that could do it. So definitely as we progress into the future, I say just take advantage that we actually have these tools and we're living in the time where it can make our lives easier, because you know, whether you're on the side of the AI or whether you're against it, it's here to stay. So yeah, just definitely take advantage of the tools, and a lot of them are free, which is pretty amazing. So how I use AI, I don't use too much of it. ChatGPT is great, and every month I'm always seeing new AI tools that can help creatives like us in the business. So I definitely have been eyes open for these tools, and I see a lot of really cool things. But also, like Duke said, you could also tell when something is legit and something is created by a human versus when it's created by a machine. So definitely using it to your advantage whilst also keeping true to your creative side. And just finding a balance between AI and then your own work is what I would say.
For sure. No, I 100% agree. Like, you can definitely use it to like boost you up a little bit, but again, don't let it do the entire thing for you. For myself, I cannot draw to save my life. Can't do graphic design, digitals. Like, it's just, I'm not creative like that. So Canva, that's my bestie right there when it comes to work.
Yeah.
And it has gotten me through a lot of tough times, okay? So little things like that, like, it's not like I'm gonna take somebody's full Canva, let's say I'm doing my networking PowerPoint. I'm not just gonna say networking in Canva and just copy and paste that exact thing. I'm gonna use the template maybe, but then change it up a bit to also give it my feel, right? So you can definitely use it to your advantage, and it's super, super helpful. And it saves a lot of time as well, right? So what about you, Selena?
Literally echo everything you just said.
She said retweet.
Literally retweet. I spoke about AI in my presentation for the workshop, and it's literally has saved me so much time where I used to have to write. So I think I'm on the opposite side of you guys, because I use it for my Instagram captions. Like, I'll type something in my own words, but I'll say like, could you make this better? And then it'll rewrite it in a way that I never thought of, and then I'll just use it that way. I'll ask it for ideas, or like I've seen other people put in prompts as well, like give me 10 blog ideas, and then you have all of that to kind of write from as well. So yeah, I love using ChatGPT. It saves me so much time. And yeah, I think that more people will start to use it and begin to like incorporate it in their work, and it might even be more accepted in the workplace as well as something that like is just adopted more to save time to do more things. So yeah.
Sure. I agree. I feel like with a lot of the youth that I work with, we actually get them to do their resume, like just like a template, sometimes format, and even like interview prep questions, and just kind of like getting them more familiar and more comfortable with like interview styles as well. Okay, so the next question I want to ask y'all is, what was a time, a project, or a moment that you were most proud of within your career? Imani, I'm gonna start you. Right? That's a good question. So many great moments.
Most proud of? Okay, all I can think of is literally what's happening this week in my.
And that's okay.
Okay, no, I was proud of, in terms of reporting and journalism, I was proud of my job at the Legacy Awards.
You did that.
You know, there was a lot of technical difficulties, and where are you gonna stand on the carpet, and things that happen, and I was just like, gotta keep calm, gotta stay grounded, and I'm just gonna have fun. And like a lot of the clips from that went like viral. Like I posted on my own page, on my own TikTok, my own Instagram, and till now I'm still getting notifications. And the Legacy Awards was in September, so yeah, like a lot of the clips are still going off, and it's boosted my following a bit. Before I was not using TikTok for like media stuff. I was literally just like, I wasn't using it seriously, and I'm like, okay, I just got a little 2K followers off of that one little video. That's nice, you know. So I'm proud of that. Also, just being in that space is always such a great like experience. surrounded by Black excellence. So that I'm proud of. I'm going to throw in another one, my own media agency. You know, we just started the series where I'm not the host of it, but I'm the executive producer. And we got our partnership with Kim H. And we've been shooting for like the past 3 weeks. This is our third shoot tomorrow. And I'm like, I think it's just setting in that I'm like, you really are producing, like, it's almost like a docu-series. And I'm just proud of that because it's like, you did this completely yourself. Like, there was no one to help get this off the ground. You've done this from the ground up. And so, yeah, I'm just proud of that.
We can clap for that.
Okay, I'll take it. Also, do I have a volunteer in the front seat? Can y'all take photos, sir? Do you mind taking photos, sir? Thank you.
We can clap for that. That's absolutely amazing. And for the Legacy Awards, you really did that.
Thanks, girl.
You did that. And if y'all don't know, go check it out. Okay.
I will quickly mention, I'm a yapper, sorry. I will quickly mention like that idea of like having to balance your personality with like remaining professional and being journalistic is something that even we talked about during my workshop. And it's something that like I feel I found a good pace at right now with myself, and in time, like as you keep practicing, you will probably find your own, but it's not something to be afraid of. I feel like as a Black woman, like I like to bring myself to what I'm doing, and being on the carpet, it was like, okay, how do I be me and be Imani, but then also like get some of these questions out. And so that was an interesting process, but I hope it's something that should you choose to pursue reporting, you can find that balance of like being yourself while also still like getting the job done. Yeah, because I think that's what people really are drawn to when I do my stuff. Absolutely. It's like I'm still just me, so I'm hoping that on for everyone, you know?
The authenticity. Yeah, we're here for it. So I'm a snob, yes, period. Matthew, what about yourself?
I'll give you two. I'll give you the proudest moment and then also the proudest project. Okay. For me, the proudest moment would be putting together my first film festival. And that was great because I was also able to premiere my first short film. And the reason why I decided I want to do a film festival was because I said, okay, I have a short film, it's 20 minutes long. I knew that I wanted to premiere it in theaters, but I thought I would feel guilty if I had people coming from all over the GTA just to watch a 20-minute short film and then go home. So I said, what if I just made it a film festival so people have multiple films to watch from, and you know you're going there for more than a 20-minute piece. So that would have been my proudest moment for sure. The proudest project would be completing a claymation / stop motion project. And if you have an idea how stop motion works, it's very tedious. How it works is for 1 second of frame, you're taking 24 pictures. And so that took me 6 months. Me and my friend, it took me 6 months to make. We were working on it day in, day out. And yeah, just being able to complete that was definitely the proudest project for me.
The patience that must have taken for you to complete it.
Yeah, it was definitely took a lot of long nights, and yeah, but I'm happy that I was able to bring it, and the artists loved it, so yeah.
It was worth it. I actually got the chance to go to your film festival, and it was incredible. If you guys ever get the chance in May. Is it always in May?
Yeah, every May.
Always in May, so stay tuned for that because it's really, really dope. And I'm waiting for the second one to drop, so don't think I forgot about that one. Yeah.
I've been to Selena's, she also has a film festival, as she mentioned earlier. She does. And I drew a lot of inspiration from how she put hers together as well, too.
Oh, amazing.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so before I put on my film festival, I would go into other people's film festivals just to see how they were doing it, and just like really just drawing it, like I said, drawing inspiration from others.
To make it bigger and better.
Yeah.
Love that. All right, well, Selena, what about yourself?
This is a hard question, for sure. I'm like trying to think of, so like proud moment or maybe for project.
Or both.
Yeah, I think I'll go with Leverage Lens. I think starting that and having continued with it this year, I'm really proud of, because it's the first time I really did something for myself. I feel like I've always, like, I love working. I love working for others, and I love seeing other people's like dreams or organizations or projects come to life, but then I never really get to do that on my own, or I do it in very like short bursts of short projects and stuff. So this time being able to start Leverage Lens and like kind of motivate myself to say I'm gonna keep it going. I'm gonna keep doing like workshops or a festival or whatever it is. Just make sure that I can hang on to it. Yeah, I'm really proud of that and really happy I stuck out with that. Yeah, I think that's it.
That's amazing.
Thanks.
I think for myself, it was definitely working for a 3-month project on it's from CBC, the CBC's, the Jane and Finch Community Bureau. And it was actually super cool because I'm from the community, and oftentimes there's such a negative perception from our community. As you guys can see on the news, it's always about all the bad things that are happening. And that time around, we actually got to tell stories that folks were like all of the amazing things. So we got to share the positive stories, and it was through the residents' voices as well, from like the different programming happening, the leaders in our community. And I feel like oftentimes those stories are not told. So whenever people hear about the community, they're like, uh-oh, girl, what you gonna do? When actually we have like some incredibly talented folks that come from the community. So that's definitely been a highlight for myself, for sure. So I'm gonna probably switch it up. I'm gonna ask you guys.
Oh wait, hold on. I didn't answer the question.
Oh,
for the
sorry. Yes,
proudest.
yes.
I was actually thinking. I'm happy I'm last.
You're like, I'm thinking about this.
Yeah, I
Dude,
really
what
did.
about yourself?
For me, honestly, it's really personal to me, but it is episode 100 of my podcast, right? Just thank you. Not just because I got to 100, but because of what it was. Like I had my dad on. And it was really just like an interview of like me and him and going over how he raised me, the lessons, and how it's like we've gone through the time where it's like, oh my God, this guy doesn't understand me. To now I'm able to see, I see why you're doing this, right? So having that moment, but also the fact that it's like I have that forever. So I can play for my kids, because that's a lot of why I even got into this. It's like, look at your grandpa on film talking about whatever. Or look at your dad at like 27 talking about these things. So I think having that in the vault, I'm like, I could have just ended podcasting, I'm good. Because I have this, you know? So that was definitely one that just really close to me. And then also the reception too, like that surprised me. People like listened to it and teared up because it made them think of their own relationship with their parent and how they wish they were able to speak to them in this way. So it's like, that was a special one to me.
The healing that you must have gotten from it too.
Yeah.
How was that though? Like, was it difficult to like have those conversations with your dad?
No, because he was always like, shout out to them. They've always been parents that are open to talking, right? Like they never like the type to beat us or anything. Like I think I got slapped twice by my dad, right? But they were big on communication, you know? So they would talk to us and stuff. So I think I was always grateful for that. So now that we're at this age, I'm able to talk to him about life and my perspective, and he's able to provide me with guidance and advice. So it's really just, I'm grateful for them, you know?
That.
Cute.
Right?
Yeah.
That's incredible. Okay, so what's one piece of advice you have for aspiring folks who are new to the media, to the world of media, but are trying to make it, whether that's in film, photography, podcasting, moderating? What's one piece of advice you have for them? Yeah, we'll start.
I feel like there's so many different ways you can go with it.
Take it away, Imani.
Yeah, I have a quick one.
Okay.
I have a quick one for
Yeah.
podcasting. Don't be afraid to pivot. I think a lot of times people get into it and they want to find such a specific niche, and then they're at episode 7. They're like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Right now, it's like you feel like you've invested all this money, all this time, but don't be afraid to pivot. Like again, if you've built that audience for 7 episodes, if they go away, you're not losing much, right? Because you can continue and be at episode 25, and now you've amassed 1,800 people. Because this is what you actually wanted to do. So I think not being afraid to pivot is huge.
That's key. Taking notes for myself.
I would say one thing that I like to teach, or not teach, but that I like to preach, I would say, is to be consistent, especially with your follow-ups. So I'll give you an example. My biggest project came from following up several times with the client. And I always think, I probably followed up maybe 3 or 4 times, and I always think, what if I had stopped on the 2nd or 3rd time? I wouldn't have gotten the project, which allowed me to get multiple other projects in the future. So definitely the follow-ups are very important, and that doesn't mean just send the same email or the exact same response. You know, you could definitely switch it up in your email. You know, on your follow-up email, include why you think that you would be the right person for this project or what you could provide with them. And another thing is that there's a very thin line between being too consistent and being like I won't say annoying, I'll say just repetitive. So definitely make sure that your follow-up emails are different and you're not just copying and pasting the same thing.
Right.
That's a very good point. So how do you build up the courage to, because I know a lot of people are just like, they can't take rejection. So that's one thing, right? So how do you build up the courage to continue to ask those questions and, avoid that fear of rejection?
Yeah, building up the courage, I mean,
Or are you just naturally confident?
I would say it's a bit of both. Just understanding that as an entrepreneur, that you have to be confident. You have to step outside of your comfort zone. Naturally, I'm a quiet person, but like we were talking about, and with networking, you have to get outside of your shell. So really, just understanding the traits that it takes to become an entrepreneur in your respective field, you apply that. So definitely, just step outside of your comfort zone. Not to be cliche, but yeah.
Thank you.
For myself, something that I still am applying every day is speaking up for myself. So I'm also naturally quiet, and I think when people try to take advantage of that in some sort of way, especially being in media, being a freelancer, working for yourself. It's really important to stand your ground, know your prices, set contracts, just understand that if this person is not doing, or the partnership is not what you're looking for, don't be afraid to walk away and leave it, because it's better to have peace of mind than to be frustrated, stressed out, and not having fun with it anymore, and then also wanting to quit. So I think the best part, or the advice I'd give, is definitely stand up for yourself, ask questions. If you don't understand a project someone's trying to give you, ask questions about it and understand exactly what you're doing so you don't end up stressed. So yeah.
And on the topic of stress, I feel like everybody gets stressed out at some point in their lives. How do y'all self-care? How do you guys make sure that you're doing okay and doing well for you to continue doing your jobs?
Before we get to that, I do have my tips that I want to give,
of course.
which is practice let's say you decide that you are going to be a reporter and you're going to be on a camera, or you're even doing whether it's reporting video or written work. It's important to practice what you're going to say. A lot of the times people think that I just get up there and I know what I'm doing, and I do know what I'm doing, but I practice what I'm going to say a lot. With the Legacy Awards, I practiced that the day before I wrote out all my questions. I practice saying it, because when you practice saying it, you can actually sound more comfortable, and it doesn't sound so here's my question. It's it sounds conversational. So practice in the shower. I mean, if I have an interview and I don't have time to write things out, I'll just be showering and I'll be so tell me, my roommate probably thinks I'm crazy. I talk in the shower all the time, because it's the only way. You have to practice saying it, and that's what gets you comfortable. And I'm sure with, even something like podcasting, it's probably a bit more freestyling
off the cuff.
Off the cuff. But with this, especially when you have sometimes even 30 seconds with somebody on a carpet, it's okay, I have 30 seconds. How can I capitalize? What do I want to ask? So practice makes perfect is my tip of the day.
Preparation.
Yeah.
I feel even with podcasting, though, there has to be some level of preparation before.
Definitely.
Mapping out,
just showing up.
Okay, format, everything else, questions ready for the guest, but you also have to be prepared for an answer that's going to strike you. Or if the person goes, yeah. And so you got to work with that, right? So keep going with the interview or the episode. So, yeah.
That's true. Okay, so how do you guys self-care? How do you guys make sure that your wellness is intact and you're able to actually do a good job when you are at, whether that's your day jobs, whether that's building your own career, but how do you make sure you're just doing good overall?
I go to the gym every day because I have a lot of anger sometimes working in this industry, and I'm I gotta get this out. I will go to the gym very frequently, and really I'm just in there getting out my anger, really and truly. Another thing I'll do is I have a support system of close friends who know me, and that's the other thing, when you people start to see you and your face, they think that they know you in a way, and sometimes you get things projected onto you, she must think she's all that, or has an ego, and it's if you know me, I'm so down to earth, I'm so chill, anyone can talk to me. And so having the people who know you to keep you grounded, to pour back into you. Sometimes, you know, with me, like my videos have like hit certain parts of the internet that I'm like, how did we end up here? Because I got some crazy people in my DMs, and it's just like knowing when to disconnect. Like, I'm a lot better at it now. Like now I have a great resilience for social media. Like I could post 7 days a week for 3 months straight because I just don't care anymore. Like I don't care what people think, right? But it took me a while to get there, and I think during my journey there were definitely moments where I was very sensitive to being so exposed to people's energies, people's opinions or thoughts. Even with my own page, This Explained, where I was doing a lot of reporting on like really important issues, right? There's a lot of opinionated people on the internet, and so it's like, how do I like, you know, keep a balance between what's real and like sometimes social media doesn't feel real, and so like knowing when to touch grass, when to get outside and like put my phone down is a big thing. But really just learning the balance of, okay, this is one world, but here is the real world as well, you know, because especially when a lot of your work is online, it can start to feel like this is the world, and it's like this is a tool to stay connected to different parts of the world, but my world is still right here in front of me, you know, like, so yeah.
I feel like that's a great reminder, because oftentimes we're all so hooked onto social media that we forget we're living in this real world. So thank you for that. Duke, what about yourself?
I struggle with it, if I'm being honest. I think my support system is amazing, and they have to literally pull me out and just be like, okay, stop. Don't put an episode out this week, you know, because if you're not doing well, you have a job that you're balancing as well, you're doing a lot, take some time. So I think I'm working on getting better at that. I actually just did it recently where I was like, something happened, I need some time, give me some time. So I think having those reminders is great. And then, like you said, touching grass, you know, like being with your family, just kicking it one night instead of, because I'm barely home. It's like you go to work, okay, podcasting, come back, go home, edit, be in your room the whole night. I barely see anyone, right? So it's like, it can get dark where it's like, when's the last time I saw my mom?
Yeah.
And we live in the same house, okay, you know? So I think, taking that time is important, you know? So.
So true.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Matthew?
For me, I like to just focus on the end goal of whatever I'm working at. I feel like that helps me to get to just really, like if I feel demotivated, just focusing on the end goal of that project helps me to keep motivated. A lot of times I'll take micro breaks. I know a lot of people recommend, you know, just stepping away from a project for X amount of days, you know, maybe a week. Sometimes I'll just take a little break. Like if I'm working on a project all day, I'll just take a break for half an hour or an hour, and I feel rested, mentally rested, and I'll get back to it. But yeah, just focusing on the end goal helps me really work towards it.
For sure. I feel like allowing yourself to take breaks too, because sometimes you can be taking breaks, but you're thinking about work, right? So be mindful of that as well. What about you, Selena?
For me, I'll watch shows on Netflix, Crave, Amazon, all the platforms. You know, not sponsored, I know. Not sponsored, but you know, I jump from platform to platform and watch different shows. I'll talk on the phone for sure. I'll vent to friends. I'll go on Instagram. Yeah, I procrastinate a lot. So like I'll have 5 things to do and I won't start till 2 a.m. just because I'm a night owl. But that's how I relax and that's how I rest. Like I'll rest in in the evening and then I'll be like, okay, it's 2 a.m. Let me start that work now. So yeah, it's just a balance.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
I think for myself, I started taking myself out on solo dates. Like I've never done that before. In fact, my friend used to do it and I'd be like, girl, you're going to the movies by yourself? I don't know I can do that. But I started taking myself out to dinner and it was the best thing ever. Nobody was judging what I was eating. The conversation, it was great. I was watching my show. Like, no, I'm saying like there was no, I didn't have to make no conversations. Like, actually, low-key, I'd be having conversations in my head. But nevertheless, watching my shows, I got to order whatever I wanted. I got to leave when I wanted, and then I got to do whatever else I wanted to do afterwards. Nobody could tell me nothing, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna steal that. I like that.
Yeah, no, 11 out of 10.
Yes.
Try it, because I used to look at her like, what are you doing? But it felt so great. Like after I pushed past the mindset of, oh my gosh, I'm here by myself, people are gonna look at me like, what's wrong with this girl? But it was super great. So last question before I open up the questions for the audience. So what's next? What can we look forward to next from you guys? What's poppin'? Drop the T.
You go.
Duke said,
You're looking
y'all
over here.
again. Matthew.
He's thinking.
Yeah, so what's next for me is just expanding on the current projects that I have right now. In terms of my film festival, right now it's based out of Toronto. I would like to take that internationally and as well as worldwide. I also teach a workshop, a film workshop, where I would say usually it runs for about 2 weeks. And by the end of the class, the students and the participants are learning how to make a film, and we've also completed a film at the end. So that I would like to have a space to call home for that. And just like the film festival, I'd like to expand that nationally and internationally.
Amazing.
Nice.
Can't wait to see it. Selena, what about yourself?
For myself, quite similar as well. So working on Leverage Lens. My festival will be in April next year. So currently, we just did a call out for volunteer film festival programmers. So if anyone's interested, you could head to Leverage Lens on Instagram and apply through our DM. But yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. And then I have two film projects. One I finished editing. So we're going to be working on the marketing plan for that for next year. And then a second doc I'm editing right now. So yeah. Thanks.
And Duke?
Me, okay, so a few things. You guys are making movies. I'm here doing podcasts. Like,
That's
it's
still
different.
incredible. Entertainment.
Yeah, no, definitely. But I think for me right now, it's like focusing on branding, like tweaking or revamping the logo. Of course, the merch. I'm laughing because London knows he's been harassing me about this for a long time, but I think it goes hand in hand with the logo, rebrand, and everything else. And then, of course, the live show. So those three main things are some things that, it's overdue. You know, it's like you've been podcasting for how long? Like, no live show? What's going on? Right? So I think those three things are what's next for me. And, of course, more of this, you know, because this was definitely not on my I didn't plan this. You know, I didn't think it was going to happen. So I think welcoming more opportunities like this.
Not a one-hit wonder.
Exactly.
Yes.
And Imani, what about yourself?
I have so much things I want to do and so little time and funding to do it, but I guess the next big thing for me is right now I'm focused on producing the show which y'all should tune into, to Sean Carter Newman. He's the first Black winner of Big Brother Canada, and this series, our partner is Kim H, and he's going around the GTA doing different wellness activities, and it's a great series about mental health, men in wellness spaces. It doesn't air until January 2025, but stay tuned for that. But in terms of my own personal goals, the long-term goal, hopefully the next few months will be for me to, as I said earlier, have my own show. So stay tuned for Tap In with Imani, where I will, fingers crossed, I will be doing it. It's going to happen. I will be interviewing artists, changemaker, creatives, and that'll all come out of my own media company, Future People Media. Yeah.
We'd love to see it.
What about yourself?
You guys are inspiring me. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I'm out here cheesing. For myself, I want to get to a point where I have my own personal branding, because again, I do a lot of work, and oftentimes that work that I'm doing is for other people. So I'm overworking myself. Going back to what you said, if I'm gonna pour all this time for other people's careers and ideas, why not pour it back into myself? So my goal is to finally develop my brand and then launch it, hopefully, where I can do all the things that I love to do on my own, and nobody can tell me where I can go, who I can talk to, and what I can say. So that would look like hosting, facilitating, moderating, and even leading workshops, because that's what I like to do. And yeah, so hopefully that works out for me.
Well, maybe we gotta talk. Future People Media.
Oh, baby.
Collab, let's go.
Baby.
Because one thing about me and the work I do, like,
Yeah.
I can only do so much, right? And there's so many talented people in this, even in this room.
Facts.
So,
Yeah.
you know, for Future People Media, that the company I've started, like, the long-term goal is to have, like, not just Tap In with Imani, but have something where, okay, Katie Atu's going in the streets and asking people questions. Okay, maybe we got, you know, different collaborations, different things going on. And so
Networking.
that's the that's the goal for me as well. So,
Yeah.
girl, let's talk.
We'll chop it up. Okay, thank you guys so much. Those are all the questions that I have. So now I'm going to open it up to the audience. If anyone has any questions, can we you guys can just speak up and direct it to who you want to answer the question. And say your name as well. So yep.
Hi, my name is Coach Lillian, or Lillian, whichever one. But when you're asking about the self-care thing, and you said you like to watch movies on Netflix, considering you do film, I want to know, what do you watch on Netflix? What is your favorite?
Yeah, put a song on.
Thank you. That's an awesome question. So ironically, I like to watch, I guess because I'm stepping away from or zoning out in a way, I'll watch reality TV shows that are the stories are hilarious, like Love is Blind, for example. Watch Reunion. Yeah, that was crazy. So I'll watch things like that to kind of zone out and not pay attention. But then I'll watch the documentaries. The most recent one I just watched was Sweet Bobby, and that was If anyone has seen that was an insane story. It actually started from a podcast. It did about 3 years ago, and then Netflix picked it up now.
Is it about catfish?
Yeah, it's about the catfish. This poor woman spent 9 years of her life thinking she was dating someone.
But
she
also,
was,
how poor are you?
I mean,
girl, you have not seen that man in 9 years. We're not talking months. We're not talking weeks. Years, girl.
That's true. I mean,
he's so real.
9 years, yeah.
You know?
Definitely should have caught on by 9th year. You haven't seen the person in person. Yeah, definitely should catch on.
Question mark.
You know.
But stories like that are so unique, and the fact that I'm forgetting her name, oh my gosh, Kirat, she felt like she could share what was going on in her life, and she wanted people to understand what happened to her and to raise awareness, and to know that although maybe you think that couldn't happen to me, 9 years, talking to someone online, never, but then you never know, you fall in love with someone and you make excuses for them, and 9 years later you're like, oh my gosh, I'm actually catfish. So so I'll watch
symbolism.
Exactly, that's true.
And we can all be catfish in a way.
Yeah, that's true too. The symbols of it and the metaphors of all of it definitely applies. But yeah, I'll watch documentaries to see how framing goes, lighting, for example. I'm more into directing and writing. I've been a videographer, but that's something where you show up, you kind of get a shot list, and you film what happens. But you don't really have to set up any scenes. So being a cinematographer is something that I not aspire to be, but aspire to understand. Yeah, really want to understand it, so that now when I go to exactly, yeah, direct my own film, or I have directed documentaries, so I've done 5 in total. But I've never really got to apply so much of the scene I wanted to see, or where the lighting should be, or the setup. It just kind of happens. So yeah. So thanks.
Good question.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So I have a question for Amani.
Mm-hmm.
So you spoke about people kind of not lowballing you, but trying to get things for a low price.
Mm-hmm.
What's the process or the system that you set up to kind of navigate that and ensure that do you feel some type of way conflicted when you set your price, or you want to do an industry price, but you're is that too much? Am I asking for too much, or what's kind of your mindset?
Yeah, there's certain times where I know the organization or the outlet has a limited budget, but I know at the same time it's something that is worth me doing, right? So, for example, actually I won't use examples. I won't use examples, let's not. But, there's certain opportunities that they can only pay me so much. And I'm as much as I think I probably deserve more than that, at the same time, I know that this has the potential to give me a great audience reach that will then always result in more opportunities and more people reaching out to say, hey, can you come do this for us? So I do think about okay, who is asking me? What is their audience reach? how much hours am I gonna have to put into this too, right? I think about how long it's gonna take me to do the story, to go to the place, to film, to report, edit it, and then send it, like all of that, like how long is that gonna take me? But I think in terms of setting my price now, it's like I'm at a point now where I'm like, I know I won't do below a certain amount, right? So I'm like, okay, here's what I know I'm worth. Here's what I know it takes in terms of hours, time to put together a video like this. I'm not going to do lower than that, but I know if it's a bigger organization or they have a bigger partner for that story, I'm like, all right, let's boost this up because I know you're getting more. And honestly, that came with time and experience, right? But I think over time, you'll find like, okay, like how do I find the balance between here's what I'm worth and also like something that's fair to the other people as well, to the organization. Yeah.
It's hard navigating that.
Freelancing is hard, but you can also ask questions like, what do you normally pay your freelancers? Like, how do you do the pay breakdown, right? If you're traveling for a story, like, is there an extra? Do you like take that into consideration as well, right? So ask questions. I think the more you keep it an open conversation versus this is it and that's done is also good too. Like I'm very open to having conversations with the people I freelance with. So yeah, I would say talk about it and see like where you can land for where you're at right now with like, maybe you have a smaller portfolio and you want to build it. So you're like, I'm willing to do it now at this rate, but you can always change your rates and you can always go back and say, hey, by the way, starting this month, my rates have actually gone up. And that's something I know people do all the time. So yeah.
Good question. I saw your hand go up first.
I have a question for you, when it comes to, putting out content in the form of a podcast, how do you maneuver, now being in a time where it seems that people are very quick to want to digest very quick snippets of information, whereas you feel like you might have a lot to share? And like is there ever an instance where you feel like you're forced to compromise how much you want to share to appease the attention span of people? And how do you feel like going through that?
That's a really great question, and it's a real thing as well. Like you're gonna watch your retention time and be like, "Oh my God, I wish it was more." But that's where I lean on the clips. I do a lot of clips for every single one of my episodes, and I think that's kind of like a bite-sized form of what the whole episode was. So if you enjoyed this clip, you can go to the full episode, and I will spam clips because I'm like, we spend time doing this, you're going to watch. So I think, heavily leaning on those clips is great, right? Because especially if this is someone who's coming across your content for the first time, chances are they don't want to invest 90 minutes or anything close to that for something they don't know they're going to enjoy, right? So bite-sized content is huge.
That's a great point. And I saw your hand go up.
Yeah, my name is Shane. First of all, thank you all for being here and for the workshops. They were absolutely great. I'm sure in all your respective fields, there's oversaturation of, people that are doing the same thing. So as people that are starting out, like how do we sort of separate ourselves from the crowd and how did you do that or how are you doing that? That's kind of just for anybody to answer.
Sure. So I think for me is just like being true to myself and letting my personality shine. So like even though I am more like on the shy side and don't want to put myself out there as much, like I'm trying to do that now. So even though I was behind the camera most of the time and like behind the screen because I'm doing social media and stuff, it's like now I want to be more in front of the camera and then include that in like who I am and what I do and let people know what I do through that, I guess. And another way to stand out, for example, like in photography or videography, if there's like a certain edit that you do or a certain like how you color your videos or just something that people can say, oh, I know this is like so-and-so's video or Shane's video, definitely can help. And then I guess another way to stand out really is just like you'll find it through just being yourself and how you talk online, how you post, what you post about. People just resonate with that and like understand that that's you being authentic. So yeah.
Anyone else want to answer?
Yeah, I think like that a lot of what I do, like so many people obviously want to be like on camera and like reporters. And so for me, even though I do bring my personality to my work, I still ground everything that I do from what I've learned in journalism school and in like working at CBC News. And so it's like that merging of the two, of like the actual like what it means to be a journalist mixed with who I am, has helped me set me apart. And not everyone has gone to school. You don't always need to go to school for it, but it's what's helped me, because people might see me with a mic and think, oh, she's gonna have fun with it, but then I'll ask like a really like important question in a way that maybe you wouldn't have thought to think about. And so for me, I always think of like when I'm going to an interview, what do I want to get out of it? What is the clip I want? And often when I go into that, I'll end up getting it in the way. And sometimes you get surprised, and that's like okay. But mixing like what the theory of what I've learned with like just who I am has been, I think, the way that set me apart. Yeah.
For sure. I think that's really important.
I would say add on to the value that you could provide a client. So I'll give an example. Say you're a painter. Maybe there's hundreds and hundreds of painters in your area, but what can you do that the other painter cannot? Maybe you have customized canvases that go along with the paintings. And this is just a rough example, but yeah, just really adding on as your value. So as an example, as a videographer, what else can you bring to the table besides shooting videos? What other skills can you inquire, especially when you're pitching to a potential client? So just adding on to your value, and that will help you stand out from an oversaturated market. If you could do something that the other person can't.
How do you stand out in podcasting?
Especially in this
When
podcasting
everyone
world.
and their
Right.
mom has a podcast.
Yeah, no.
Everybody.
I'm not gonna answer that.
You say that.
No. I think it's funny. It's kind of like an amalgamation of everyone's answers, right? But you can see the theme was consistency. It's not consistency. Being true to yourself. Authenticity. There you go. That's the one. Authenticity is huge, and also figuring out what your competitive advantage is. So even if you start off, let's say your competitive advantage is consistency, the fact that you're posting 5 times a day, that will get you noticed, right? But after that, what else can you give to the audience? Like, what's the value you're bringing to the audience? Whether it's laughter, knowledge, any kind of thing you're really, passionate about, it's going to translate in what it is that you're doing, right? So I think starting out from a place of somewhere you actually care about, that's already a good step, and then being consistent with it, and then figuring out what your competitive advantage is as well. So where you stand in that industry, because like you said, there's tons of podcasts. Where do you stand? What do you bring? What's different about you? So.
And I feel like something that you guys all kind of talked about, just like learning as well, like always leveling up to make sure you're kind of like one step ahead as well.
I just wanted to add on. Right now, is podcasting, like, do you look at it as a competition? Like, do podcasters compete with others? Like, are you guys competing for the audience's attention?
They definitely do. I don't. No, I'm kidding. But no, definitely. Some people, it's competition. You can see the content wars, but you only really see it if you're in it. Yeah, it is. Because like, oh, you interviewed this guy? All right, say no more. I got that guy, right? Yeah. But I think in the grand scheme of things, we can all eat, right? Because like even myself, in my podcast rotation, like on a Wednesday, I'll listen to like 4. I never pick, I'm not going to listen to this guy because this. No, it's all about content. It's what you enjoy, right? You're going to gravitate to what you gravitate towards. So it's not really a competition.
Okay. I think we have time for 2 more questions.
I guess this is for everybody who's sitting there. You guys are fabulous, and this has been a really great experience.
Oh, thank you.
One thing I want to ask is, it came as a suggestion, but obviously not to force it on anybody. But would any of you be open to the idea of maybe picking some of us who would love to volunteer with you at maybe one project, get some hands-on experience, exchange the time and effort, and maybe get closer to your craft? Obviously knowing what you're doing before that, so some preparations before, so you're not ruining your projects or anything. But I would love that, because I feel like this would also add another dimension to the whole experience of us knowing your craft and also getting to know more hands-on experience in these industries.
That's a great question. And I'll add, also let them know where they can find you as well. How can they connect with you?
Okay, well, I have a platform called This Explained, where like last year into early this year, I was super consistent with doing like explainer journalistic videos, and I had a small, very, very small team of like students who were in school who were learning how to do the storytelling, create the videos. I think the only thing with them was that they almost wanted me to encourage them, and I was like, I can't, guys, I can't. So if there's anyone in this room who would like to learn and would like to start doing that type of on-camera, green screen style reporting, it is my goal to bring back that page that's explained, which is under my media company. And I'm looking for volunteers who would like to learn and who have the passion for it themselves, who I don't have to like, like you come to me with like, here's a story I'd like to do, but how do we make it work? How can I help you? So hit me up, follow me on Instagram. I would love to work with people. And the great thing is often this Explained collaborates with Street Voices anyways. So it's like a win-win for everyone. So yeah. Hit me up. Follow me at IMAANI Imani Walker. You can find me on the Street Voices Instagram.
I'll go next because I am currently looking for volunteers so it's perfect timing. Thank you. It's 8, I think. Yeah, it's 8 o'clock.
I gotta go home, but.
So, okay. Already 8, wow.
What time is it? 8 p.m. We'll wrap it up.
So yeah, I'm looking for film programmers right now. Film programmer, if you don't know, is someone who watches the films that get submitted through like our submissions form, and then as a team we'll choose like at least 10 films or so. So last year, what I did was, because of the time I did a sponsor. So I had asked an organization, a production company, to sponsor 3 of their films, which one of them was mine. But this year, I wanted to make sure that like I opened it up, and it was not just like me selecting the films. Like I wanted to create a community and grow with that. So yeah, and like I'm only looking for 4 programmers, but that's not to say I'm not going to do like another call out, because we'll need people during the festival, at the festival. We also have like an art side of the festival as well too. So yeah, just follow us, Leverage Lens, on Instagram and reach out. So thanks. Thank you. Thanks.
What about yourself, Matthew?
Yeah, I'm definitely open to volunteers and to educating, into further educating, and even apart from volunteering in person, I can also answer questions, small or big, through email, DMs, whatever. But yeah, I'm definitely open for that to the audience as well too.
Same exact answer as him. No, honestly, I think you can definitely send me an email if you have a specific question. But we definitely welcome people on set whenever we do shoot an episode, just so you can kind of see how it goes. Obviously, if you're on set, you have to be very quiet. But besides that, no, please send me an email or DM or anything like that, and we can definitely coordinate and have you be on set.
Thank you. Okay, let's give everybody here a big round of applause. Thank you guys so much. One thing.
I want to shout out. I want to say one thing. Okay, I just want to say one quick thing, which is shout out to Joel, because like if you guys hear his story, which like I don't know the details of your story. Like you've always kind of given us a general overview, but we all know like homelessness is no joke. Like having to live in shelters is no joke. So to go from that being your reality to now having a room full of young people here who are willing and ready to learn and ready to better themselves is a big thing. So you're a change maker. We love you. Keep doing it. Yeah, I'm proud of you.
Round of applause to everybody who showed up today, because I know it's late and some of y'all probably have your beds to go to. So a big round of applause for everyone who showed up here today. Okay, and so please like, don't let it stop here. Connect with the folks that are on stage right now. Like, follow them, support them, because we're gonna lift as we climb, right? So feel free to connect with them offline to see how you guys can continue to work together and uplift each other. So shout out to everybody here. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Good job, girl.
Good job.